The new 16-inch MacBook Pro M2 Max chipset has recently had a report sharing details of a new 12-core M2 Max for its CPU. There looks like there are going to be enhancements to the GPU in graphics cores as well, and today I want to share all the details about this. I'm also going to give you the latest of everything we know so far, including the 16-inch MacBook Pro M2 Max release date and price and spec summary. So every MacBook now has an Apple Silicon chipset inside it, and the last MacBooks to get this were the brand new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros with that M1 Pro and M1 Max chipset inside. Now already a lot of us are wondering, what will the next generation Mac Pro give us in the likes of 2022 or 2023? Well, in this video I'm going to cover over everything we know so far for the brand new higher spec MacBook Pros that Apple will release in the future. So if you've watched some of my videos already, you will know I'm going to give you the latest details on specific reports of info that we've been told, then the details of the planned release date, then a summary of the models that are going to be released with all the features that we have learnt in previous leaks as well. After, I'm going to reveal my wish list for the next generation MacBook Pro. Also, put in the comments below of what features you would love to see in the MacBook Pros, and maybe in my next video I will feature your comment and discuss my thoughts around it. So let's get started with the main details of the next generation 16-inch MacBook Pro. So one of the biggest features everyone was looking forward to with the current generation 16-inch MacBook Pro was the chipset inside it and how much power it was going to bring us. The M1 Pro and M1 Max has given us a true generation leap in performance, what we had in the likes of say a 16-inch MacBook Pro with an Intel chipset. The CPU performance in both the 10-core M1 Pro and M1 Max is over double of the highest spec Intel i9 chipset in the 16-inch MacBook Pro that came out in 2019. But we're all wondering now, what will the new M2 Pro and the M2 Max give us? Well, we've recently had a report talking about the M2 Max, and it looks like some additional cores are going to be going inside it. So from the CPU side of things, we're going to be getting 12 cores instead of 8. Now what this basically means is that it's going to be an additional 2 cores for the M2 Max. We don't actually know if we're going to get 2 additional cores for the M2 Pro, but most likely what we'll be getting is 2 efficiency cores, and we'll also have a total of 10 performance cores inside the brand new M2 Max, and that will give us at least a 20% increase in performance just with these 2 additional cores. However, like every other chipset manufacturer out there, they improve on their actual architecture, and probably most likely with these 2 additional cores and with Apple tinkering around with the actual chipset as well, we're probably more likely to going to get a boost between 30 to 45% more power than what we have in the current M1 Max. We've also been told for GPU cores in the M2 Max that we're probably going to be getting a few more, so this will probably be 4 to 6 more cores again, but most likely with these extra cores, and again Apple tinkering it around, we're probably going to be getting 30 to 45% more graphical power than we currently have. So this is super exciting news to hear, as already the M1 Pro and the M1 Max are super powerful, and it looks like Apple are going to be enhancing this even further. I also want to comment at this stage into the video that all reports and leaks are not 100% proof they will come true with the new MacBooks. Like I have said before in many of my other videos, I can only present to you what has been told and shown. However, if you're watching this video, then you're as curious as I am in knowing what is going to be said about the new MacBooks anyway. So the next question is on the release date. So with Apple's journey complete with equipping every Mac with an Apple Silicon M1 variant chipset inside, apart from the Mac Pro, but that is not likely to get an M1 variant chipset, but that's a story for another day. It's very likely that these chipsets will probably get replaced in the same order that they came out with the M1. So I'm talking about the initial M2 to first of all come out, then to get the chipset of the M2 Pro and the M2 Max, and then finally the M2 Ultra. So with this in mind, the M2 journey will probably start now in fall of 2022. So we could see the M2 appearing in the likes of the iMac 24-inch, the iPad Pro, the Mac Mini, the MacBook Air, and also the smaller base MacBook Pro, so the replacement for the current 13-inch MacBook Pro. This means that the M2 Pro and the M2 Max will be coming next after these products get upgraded to M2. It is likely again that not all of these devices that had an M1 chipset inside it will be upgraded to M2 all at the same time. So expected that some of these devices will be updated in fall this year with M2, and then there'll probably be some other devices updated to M2 in spring 2023. This would mean that we probably wouldn't see the updated M2 Pro and the M2 Max chipsets in the likes of the MacBook Pros inside them until at least fall 2023. However, there is the possibility of seeing the M2 Pro chipset in the likes of the second generation iMac 24-inch model or even the new design Mac Mini. So it is possible that the release of the MacBooks could be before fall of 2023, but it's unlikely that you will see any of them in 2022. So, just quickly guys, this channel recently got over 350,000 subscribers, what's absolutely amazing. So in celebration of this, I am doing a giveaway right now on this channel for this. It is for a MacBook Air, and this MacBook Air here is the 8-core GPU option with 512 gigabytes of storage, and I'm going to be giving this away to one lucky subscriber when we get over 400,000 subscribers. And all you need to do to enter into this international giveaway is put down in the comments below of what Apple gear or what technology gear you're planning to buy in 2022. And when we get over that 400,000 subscribers marker, I'll be creating a video on this channel announcing who the winner is. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell right now. Now just quickly, I do want to mention there are lots of scammers, there are lots of spammers, a lot of them impersonating myself, and they're telling you to WhatsApp you or to WhatsApp them or to Telegram them. Ignore them completely or report them, because this is not me. Like you've heard from me here, I'll be making a video when we get over 400,000 subscribers announcing any kind of giveaway on this channel, and it will definitely be this time for this MacBook Air here. Well, with that out of the way guys, let's return back to the video. With the latest leaks and release date out of the way, let's move on to a summary of everything we know so far that previous leaks have painted a picture of what details the new MacBook Pros will give us with their baseline price as well. So the brand new MacBook Pro 16-inch with the M2 Pro and M2 Max. So most likely we're going to be getting the same sort of design and very similar features. It's mainly going to be the chipset where the main changes we're going to see here. So we're going to be getting the 16.2 XDR Liquid Retina mini LED display, what is a ProMotion display, and that'll have a resolution of 3456 by 2234. And like I said, that'll be a ProMotion up to 120Hz display. We'll also probably get the same sort of storage configuration, so 512 gigabytes all the way up to 8 terabytes of storage in the options available. Then we're probably going to be getting an M2 Pro and also the M2 Max with either a 10 or 12 core CPU, and we're probably going to be getting a 16 to 32 core GPU, but we may be getting additional few more cores in the M2 Max or the GPU. But then for RAM, we'll be getting the same configuration again of choices, so 16 gigabytes of RAM definitely for the M2 Pro, and then we'll be getting 32 gigabytes of RAM for either the M2 Pro and the M2 Max, and then 64 gigabytes of RAM option definitely for the M2 Max. The body will be an aluminium bodied again, and then we'll be getting the same ports we already have, so this is MagSafe, 3 USB Thunderbolt 4 ports, HDMI 2.1 and an SD card slot. Then we'll also probably be getting maybe some slight enhancements to the center stage webcam, but this is most likely still going to be a 1080p camera. The actual battery life again on this MacBook Pro will be up to 22 hours this time, and most likely the reason behind this is possibly because Apple will probably doing more efficiencies with their new generation of the M2 Pro and also the M2 Max, so basically battery life can be prolonged a little bit further. The prices though for the M2 10-core CPU option, and this will give you the 16-core as well option, and also 16GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, so this is the smallest and cheapest 16-inch MacBook Pro, will be starting at the current price that we have right now of $2,499 for the base model of the 16-inch MacBook Pro of the lowest configuration that you can get on this model. So that is a summary of the new MacBook Pros. However, for my thoughts and wishes, well, my thoughts and wishes are to do with actually the current M1 Pro and M1 Max MacBook Pros. I am hoping that when the new M2 Pro and Max comes out, that Apple still sells the M1 Pro and M1 Max MacBooks, but at a lower price. I'm thinking something along the lines of what Apple do right now with iPhones. So each year when the new iPhone comes out, we still sell, or Apple still sell, a variant of the last generation or two of those models of the last generations for a bit less than what they were a year ago. I would love to see this happen to the M1 Pro and the M1 Max MacBook Pros, as they are such amazing devices and will be for many years to come. I would hope that the 14-inch base model, for example, would be reduced to say $1,799 compared to the M2 Pro base model that will be probably about the same at $1,999 that we pay right now for the current model. Do you think this would be a good idea? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you agree with this or not. And also, let me know what your wishes would be for the new MacBook Pros. Well guys, it's also time to wrap up this video, so if you have enjoyed watching it, please make sure to like the video, and also at the same time as well, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, please make sure to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. Until next time guys, I'll see you soon.